Hi, my name is Avery Daukus. I'm doing a presentation about how the global north affects the global south. So what does it mean to be a part of the global north? The global north is completely industrialized, has an advanced economic system, and is what is known as the developed world. In contrast, to be a part of the global south, the country cannot be fully industrialized and is still developing. We call these third world countries in media, and they can have parts of the country that are fully developed, but often most of it has areas that are still not industrialized. The map above shows a visual of what it looks like to be in the global north versus the global south. As you could see, the countries in blue are a part of the global north. These northern countries include most of North America, Europe, Russia, and Australia. These countries are a part of the global north because they are fully developed. There are no part of the country that are still what is known as third world, not industrialized, mostly farming, living off their own crops and land. Vice versa, the countries in red are a part of the global south. These countries include South America, Africa, China, and India. Countries such as China and India are still a part of the global south because they have areas that are not fully industrialized. Another thing that is common within the countries in the global south is a small middle class. There are many issues that the global south faces that often are caused by the global north. One of these issues is a poverty circle. To be in a poverty circle, it means that you are in a loop of poverty that is often inescapable. So each generation will be poor because of things like poor schooling, bad hospitals, just the country having a poor economic in general. So many developing countries have poor economies and they're forced to do labor to create raw materials, and then they're forced to export those raw materials, and then after exporting them they have to import the finished goods from the northern countries. This creates a poverty circle because no matter how much they're doing, they cannot get a profit off of the goods they're exporting. Another common issue that is faced by the global south because of the global north is the global south being forced to make deals that they will never be able to repay. So northern countries will make deals with the countries in the global south, and this sometimes even happens with more developed southern countries such as China, where they make deals with the poor developing countries that they know that they won't be able to pay back. This could take the form of loans, of trading ports, and these countries will say that you need to pay X amount of money for this, or if you can't pay, then we will take control of the trading port for, say, 100 years. This then lets the higher developed countries take advantage of what could be making the southern countries profit. And it makes them even more poor because they can't do anything about taking advantage of the natural resources that are available to them. A very good example of how the poverty circle affects a country is Jamaica. So Jamaica was under control of Great Britain for many years, and then after World War I, they were granted independence. Being left with no leadership, they fell into extreme debt shortly after. They looked to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which was established after World War I too, for money and advice. The IMF gave them a loan, but also gave them strict spending limits on the money that they gave them. The strict spending limits that they gave them led to them not being able to support building hospitals and schools. Because they were uneducated and had poor health, that creates a young population that is uneducated. And because of the uneducated population, they can't teach their children. And then their children can't teach their children. And then they have a high death rate. This poverty all stems from Great Britain, which is a part of the global north, granting them independence but leaving them with no plan. The IMF is also led by Europeans from the global north. They don't understand what it's like to be a part of a southern country. And although the IMF probably has Jamaica's best interests in mind, their plan of action is only going to get them out of poverty for the moment. Once they've finished the deal and the loans that they set up, they will have an uneducated and unhealthy population, and they won't be able to get out of the circle of poverty. Another way Jamaica has been affected by the global north is through farming. Jamaica is a country that has generational farming. Because of their warm climate, Jamaica has potential to produce a surplus of raw materials that could be exported. During the new age global economy, Jamaica is simply not able to compete with the northern countries that are able to produce crops in surplus. And because the IMF has said to reduce the trade barrier as much as possible to increase the economy in Jamaica, the homegrown farmers in Jamaica are not able to sell their crops in stores. The imported crops could be sold for much cheaper than the homegrown crops, so the farmers in Jamaica are losing jobs and increasing the poverty in Jamaica even more. And the farmers that are able to sign deals with countries in the north such as the US and Canada, their crops will not be accepted due to them not meeting the standard of what is being sold already in stores. It is hard to say that there is a solution to these problems, because many of these issues are extremely complex. With everything being as globalized as it is now, it is hard for smaller countries to even begin to compete with countries such as the United States, Russia, and China that dominate the global world. Hopefully one day all the countries will band together and come up with some solutions to bring the South out of the struggle that they are facing. Thank you so much for watching my presentation about the global North and the global South.